Hello YouTube, Grand Captain Speedy here. Last time on What If Cooler adopted Kakarot, Dr. Gero's insurrection and Boo's revival were foiled. How will these failures affect future events? Find out now. It's been days since Dr. Gero's betrayal was taken care of and Majin Boo's seal wasn't broken, but Cooler is still shaken from the events. Cooler meets with King Cold and Kakarot in the training room and begins explaining what happened and what effect it has had on him. King Cold is shocked to hear about Majin Buu, but is happy that it seems that it won't be a problem in the future, and to address Cooler's worries, suggests a visit to Yardrat. Cooler prepares for him to leave the Empire, and plans to leave King Cold in charge in his and Kakarot's absence. Bulma has just finished putting in the latest upgrades on Cooler's personal ship when he comes to have her prep it for takeoff. Cooler and Kakarot say their goodbyes for now and head off for Yardrat. Cooler is able to diplomatically secure training by the Yardratians for him and Kakarot, with Paibara personally teaching the two spirit control. The two training together really helps in them learning spirit control. Meanwhile on Earth, someone is stumbling through a forest, confused and without memories. He doesn't know who he is or what he is doing, but continues stumbling around until a wolf tries to attack him, with him instinctively blasting the creature into oblivion. Despite the little interruption, he continues roaming. Capsule Corp's computers notice a large spike in energy, and after Bulma cross-references all known troop deployments, begins getting a little curious about the source. Bulma messages Raditz to check out the random power spike, which Raditz is a little annoyed at the busy work, but does as Bulma asks. It doesn't take long before Raditz arrives at the coordinates. Raditz is surprised to see the level of destruction, but is unable to locate the source. After contacting King Cold and Bulma, Raditz begins searching a larger area while waiting for backup to assist him. The first to arrive to assist Raditz is Nappa, and he is the one to find the source. Nappa approaches the stranger only for the stranger to get scared and blast Nappa, but the blast was weak enough for Nappa to just shake it off. The stranger begins running away, but Raditz and Nappa are able to corner him and try and talk to him. It's rough at first, but soon the stranger begins slowly responding and remembering. After a bit more, he begins remembering even more, such as him being Cooler and his mind going blank moments after Deborah spit on him. Being convinced enough, Raditz and Nappa bring Cooler back to Capsule Corp to meet King Cold. King Cold is confused seeing Cooler, and they begin explaining what they know. Cold begins quizzing Cooler to see if this Cooler is a fake, but after Cooler answers every question correctly, King Cold begins questioning if the other Cooler is a fake. Cooler is interested to learn more about this other Cooler, and begins thinking the other Cooler is a plant while he was incapacitated. Cooler begins planning to trap the other Cooler and then finish the fake off himself. Bulma contacts Kakarot and explains the situation with the Cooler on Earth, and asks him if there is anything suspicious about the Cooler with him. Kakarot admits that Cooler has seemed different since Dr. Gero's betrayal. On Yardrat, Cooler begins noticing Kakarot acting suspicious around him, and shortly asks him about it. Kakarot tries to dismiss it, but Cooler isn't fooled, and is able to get Kakarot to admit what was happening on Earth. Cooler, after hearing the story, shortly realizes what likely happened, and explains that while fighting Deborah, that he had to discard his arm because it was being turned to stone, and that his arm must have grown into another Cooler. Kakarot is impressed by Cooler's theory and thinks all the details match up with what he knows. Cooler begins discussing his plan on how they should handle the situation and what preparations they should make before returning home. Kakarot informs Bulma about the update, so they are ready to facilitate the fight between the Coolers, and for Bulma to try and make the training room be ready for the fight. Cooler and Kakarot finish their training, with Paibara congratulating them for completing all of the training that Yardrat has to offer. The two return to Cooler's ship and head back home. After arriving back home, they are greeted by King Cold and Bulma. King Cold began giving the planned story, but Bulma interrupts and guides Cooler to the training room, where the other Cooler is waiting. Cooler tries to explain his theory to the other Cooler, but it was useless. The Coolers begin fighting, but the training on Yardrat has made such a gap between the two that it was quite a one-sided fight. Having the advantage, Cooler once again tries reasoning with Cooler, only for it to fall on deaf ears. Cooler, realizing there is only one way to end it, pulls out a small bottle, which terrifies Cooler, but Cooler decides to try and make the plan backfire and uses the Mufuba against Cooler. However, Cooler reverses the Mufuba, trapping Cooler in the jar. After picking up the jar, Cooler decides there is only one place he can put it to ensure that this doesn't become a problem again, and swallows the jar whole. King Cold begins talking to Kakarot, who he thinks is out of the loop, but is surprised when Kakarot already knew all of it. Bulma explains she asked Kakarot to check things out on his end, and became sure that the Cooler with him is the real one. Kakarot explains Cooler decided to settle things with the other Cooler, and that he believes they should follow whoever leaves the training room. Kakarot and everyone is outside the training room waiting to learn what happened, with Cooler shortly emerging. King Cold asks what happened to the other Cooler, with Cooler saying he ate him, before stating that the issue is now solved and they need to move on. Cooler orders the Armored Squadron and the Geist Force to head to Yardrat, to learn the techniques they have. King Cold says he'll join them, since Cooler seems to be back better than ever after his trip. This is where I'll end the part for now. How will Cooler sealing away Cooler affect future events? Find out next time on What If Cooler Adopted Kakarot. If you enjoy my content, check out my Discord, as well as liking the video and subscribing to my channel. As always, have a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, or night, wherever you are.